Hi, it's KCCK's Culture Crawl. I'm Dennis Green, and Tim Hankewich is back from Orchestra Iowa. Got a couple of Masterworks concerts under our belt.
Oh, yeah.
Serious stuff, although
yes.
it was also huge fun, both of them.
Oh, God, yeah.
But now
That's why I do it, man.
now we move into the true fun part of the
Right.
season with the first Pops concert and continuing the tradition of the orchestra play-alongs
Yes.
with movies.
Yes.
This has really become almost a second career for
It
you.
has. Music with live music. And by the way, happy Halloween, everybody, because buckle up. This is going to be really fun. And we're performing The Nightmare Before Christmas, which is perfect. It's November 1st.
So right
after.
Yeah.
Right after Halloween,
right
and
after
yet
Halloween,
the beginning of the sprinting marathon to Christmas.
Right.
So it's perfect.
So we're gonna keep Halloween going for one more day
Absolutely.
before we get out the sleigh bells and the Christmas decorations.
But I'm still surprised at how many people still come up to me kind of scratching their head. It's like, what's this film with live music thing? I don't get it, because they think that maybe we're just playing the music from the film, and they don't really understand. No, we are actually showing the film on the large screen at the Paramount, and the musical soundtrack has been scrubbed from it. And then the orchestra plays the musical soundtrack in real time with the film. And so basically the experience is seeing the film as you know and love it. It's just maybe a bit music forward, because there's 70, 80 musicians playing the music for it.
But you can still totally appreciate the movie as well.
It's
still a fun watch.
Exactly. You appreciate the movie, and you appreciate the music, how it actually contributes to the emotional content of what's going on screen.
So we've done a lot of John Williams.
Yes, we have.
At these.
Yep.
You've gone back in time and done some classic films as well.
Yeah. Casablanca, I remember, was our first.
Yeah, Casablanca is one I was kind of thinking of. And but Tim Burton.
This was hard. They're all hard.
This is Danny Elfman music, isn't it?
Correct. Yeah. This one's difficult because it's unrelenting. I mean, it's playing all the time. Sometimes when you're doing a John Williams score or any score, there's like a 2-minute scene here or a 30-second scene there where the orchestra doesn't have to play. But this one,
there's actually very little dialogue in this movie.
Lots of dialogue, but it's over
music.
So it's the musicians are playing all the time. And yes, this is one of Danny Elfman's great masterpieces. And I didn't know this growing up, but I was a Danny Elfman fan before he became popular as a music scorer, because I was an Oingo Boingo fan, and he and his brother were the founding members of that band. And I was crazy for them, and I had no idea that he would progress to become arguably one of the great film scorers of his generation, next to John Williams. And clearly Tim Burton was also a fan, because that's how they met, was through the band Oingo Boingo. And this is, hey, have you ever thought about writing film music? And,
really?
And the rest is history. Danny Elfman, his first film score was Pee-wee's Big Adventure. And then Batman.
He did the 1989 Batman.
Yeah, and the rest is history. And to this day, I'm sure he's getting residuals every time you see and hear The Simpsons, because he wrote the soundtrack to that as well. And he's probably one of the reasons why classical music is being featured as cover pieces for sitcoms now, because they have to pay him every time that theme song is played on the air.
It's way easier to get the rights to Beethoven.
He's not going to call his lawyer. But anyway, so Danny Elfman has just gone on to write these hits after hits after hits, and there's just a quirkiness about his music style that complements that dark gothic flavor that Tim Burton has in his music, in his films. So in many ways, Tim Burton, Danny Elfman is kind of the same as John Williams and Steven Spielberg. It's just a partnership that was just made to be.
How is the score in terms of difficulty?
Very difficult. So not only technically difficult, but it's going to make my job extremely hard, because, as I said, it's unrelenting. And what is also embedded in the film is not only the dialogue and the sound effects, but there's a lot of singing in it that we are not doing live. It's already part of the soundtrack that comes with it. So the orchestra has to be right on it to the millisecond because all of a sudden when a character starts singing, we have to be there. And if we're like phasing in and out or a half a second ahead or behind, everybody will know that we missed our marks. So I'm going to be on a click track. Some members of the orchestra will be also on a click track. And what that means is you get this click in your ear to give you the tempo and when you're supposed to start and when you're supposed to stop. And just because you have the click in your ear doesn't mean it's easy, because it's conducting an orchestra is like steering a battleship. If you need to change the tempo,
you needed to do that 5 minutes ago.
Correct. So it's going to be quite a challenge. But after all these years, it is something that I really have grown to love. I actually love doing these things, and it's a great challenge for me personally. It's a great challenge for the orchestra as well, because when you're doing a Beethoven symphony, for example, musicians are making micro adjustments to each other constantly. With this, there's no room for micro adjustments. You've got to be right with the stick. And so it actually trains the orchestra to respond to a conductor much more quickly than they would normally be. Yeah.
So actually requiring the orchestra to follow what you do.
Heck yeah. Yes. So it's great training for everyone.
Because a lot of times, to be honest, you can walk away from the podium and they would be just fine.
They would be just fine. It might sag a little bit because, the orchestras tend to get slower and slower without somebody beating them over the head. But you're right. A Beethoven symphony, a Mozart symphony, start
they
them
know this
go.
music. They can go. Yeah.
They'll be just fine. Not so here. They need a conductor, and I'm happy to oblige.
And what's on your podium? What are you looking at while this is going? Now, you said you got a click track in your ear.
Correct.
So you're getting the tempo fed to you, but you also have the movie in front of you with some timing stuff.
I have a whole lot of more gear in front of me, and it depends on the vintage of the film, because it's slightly changed if it's an old film or a fairly new one. I say fairly new one. Yeah, Nightmare Before Christmas is already 32 years old. That makes me feel even older. Anyhow, what I'm looking at the score, on the score, I have every measure is numbered, and I have certain hieroglyphics in the score that tells me where I should be. And then on the screen, it's exactly what the audience is seeing, except something slightly different. There's a countdown clock that tells me what measure I'm supposed to be on and what beat I'm supposed to be on at any given moment. And also, there are these colored lines that go by that warn me of a major musical event and dramatic event that's about to happen. So if we're slightly off, I can at least anticipate where the next important moment is going to happen, so I can fudge the orchestra to make it. So there's lots of visual cues that's happening in the screen, lots of information about what measure and beat I'm supposed to be on, and there's also in the click track, it counts down the actual tempo that I need, like 4 beats or 8 beats before we actually come in. So lots of information coming at me at all times.
Right, and having to you really multitask.
Correct.
Synthesize all of these different inputs.
And this is also what kills me is so I'm glued to this screen, but I'm also supposed to be giving musicians their cues. And so you can't just have your head buried in the score, or else it doesn't help the musicians. And so to be able to be familiar with these scores well enough to be cognizant of what's going on in the score, on the screen, and to have your head up so you can actually give a musician an important cue, I've got my work cut out for me.
And if Tim does his job correctly, you won't notice any of this because you'll just be enjoying the movie and music together.
Correct. About 5 minutes in, you'll forget that we're there. And that is the supreme compliment that we're doing our job that well.
These are always so much fun.
Yeah.
You do a great job of pulling out interesting movies that are not just fun to watch, but also, have a lot of texture and meat to the music that goes along with them.
Or the other trick is to find music that will resonate with your local culture, because we just did this at Colonel Stadium with Field of Dreams.
With Field of Dreams. That was huge.
How many orchestras play on the ball diamond? and yet when people heard, is this heaven? No, it's Iowa. You could hear them screaming from miles away. It was awesome. Finding these films that resonate with your audience, challenge the orchestra, that are also entertaining. It's easier said than done.
And, as you said, straddles the holiday perfectly.
Beautifully.
Halloween and Christmas all put together on the 1st of November.
What perfect timing, yeah.
One show only. You only get one shot at this.
Correct. Yeah, so get your tickets now if you haven't already, and it's just one of these things that it's ephemeral because this is the time of year that the company who produces this they're doing it everywhere, and so that's why they're passing through because they produce. Well, they bring the materials, they bring the music, they bring the film, the projector, they bring the screen, and all the basic tech that you need, and then they're off to the next one immediately. So, yeah.
Saturday, November 1st, 7:30, Paramount Theater.
See you there.
Nightmare Before Christmas. Tickets at
orchestraiowa.org or artsiowa.com. Now, come in costume. Now, what costume is that going to be? Is that going to be a Halloween or Christmas costume? I don't care. It's both.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the holidays, it'll be time to talk Christmas music here pretty soon.
Oh, my goodness. It just won't end. Yeah.
So come back in a few weeks and we'll do that.
Will do. See you then.
Thanks, Tim. You can hear the Culture Crawl live on the radio most weekdays at 10:30, on demand at kcck.org/culture, or subscribe using your favorite podcast player. Watch our videos on the KCCK Facebook and YouTube channels. Our producer is Lydia Kilgore. The Culture Crawl theme is composed by Vivian Shanley. I'm Dennis Green, and I'll talk to you later.